Esta conferencia comenzará a grabarse.
So, welcome everybody to a new session of the European Alliance Against Coronavirus. Thank you for joining us. You know that these sessions are recorded, and we will share them on the ECA European Cluster Alliance channels and also in the ECCP European Cluster Collaboration platform. So please keep in mind that if you stay with us, you are agreeing with this. Today we are going to speak about digitalization and the manufacturing sector. Tool or issue? For me, it's very, very clear. The answer I have been working on this topic for many years. In fact, it's my favorite one. So I'm really excited to have with us today high-level experts to share their experience and to give us food for thought. Okay, so welcome, bonjour, Loic Marine from Siemens.
Hello. Hi everyone.
Arnaud Boquillon from Siemens also, and Chantal David from the Science Computer Consultant. We will hear you, okay, more or less 10 minutes, please, just to keep some time later to an open discussion between all the attendants. Without more introduction, Loic, sorry, the floor is yours. Do you want to have the presentation rights?
Yes, please, and to especially for my colleague Arnaud, because he has the slides. So could you give him the access, the rights? Yeah, thank you. He will share the slide, and I will speak to introduce the presentation and the first part, and he will continue to talk about integration of technologies for the manufacturing sector. And we are going to have the presentation of Science Computer Consultant at the end.
Perfect.
So we are seeing, yeah.
But please, yes, it's perfect now. Thank you. The floor is yours.
Okay, thank you. Just 2 minutes. Okay. So hi everyone. So thank you for being here this morning. So here the agenda of the presentation. Can you just move to the next slide, Arnaud, please? Yeah, thank you. So as you can see, and as the title suggests, we will address the subject of digitization and more specifically the digital transition, which is called for by the European Commission with the Horizon Europe, for example. And we will going to do it through the prism of the manufacturing sector. So we wanted to question this transition and its necessity in view of the current challenges based on feedback from our companies and members. Next slide, please. So let's start with the first part of this presentation and the common definition of the pôle de compétitivité as they are described at the national level. So pôle de compétitivité brings together companies of all sizes, research players and training establishment in a given territory to develop innovative synergies and collaborative cooperation around a specific sector of activity. So created in 2004, there are now a little bit more than 50 poles everywhere in France. So I am deliberately not going to translate the term pôle de compétitivité because it is a specific brand in France with key elements to which I will come back, and which clearly differs from other types of clusters such as business cluster. As their name suggests, business clusters have a precise mission at the core of their strategy, which is to increase the turnover and the economic efficiency of companies. Mainly made up of SMEs and very small enterprises. They have a limited territory of action and they work with a strong relational system, allowing them to increase their business and growth opportunities. So the business aspect is not the main attention of pôle de compétitivité activities. It is of course important, but our very #1 mission is to support and encourage excellence through innovation, and more specifically through collaborative innovation. The pôle de compétitivité, so all the label, which is sometimes mandatory for companies to access public fundings and calls. So when this label is not mandatory, it's highly appreciated by both companies and assessors, because it is a sign of rigorous expertise on the challenges of innovation. A recent survey has demonstrated that the model of the pôle de compétitivité is something really valuable for the companies. On average, €1 public invested allows to generate and lead to the investment to €2.5 in private sector in R&D. So we not only help our members to innovate, but also promote the product of those innovations. Finally, and surely one of the most important key elements, the pôle de compétitivité is an essential orchestrator of innovation at different levels. So next slide, please, because this will allow me to continue with the presentation of SIM and to illustrate all the key elements that I've mentioned a little bit before. So we are dedicated to mechanical engineering, manufacturing, and production performance. Our ecosystem is composed of 270 members and our extended ecosystem of more than 500 organizations. Our action is not dedicated to one specific sector, but would favor a cross-sectoral approach, combining traditional sectors and sectors of diversification, as you can see in the slide. This approach promotes and multiplies innovation. Our thematic roadmap on the right of the slide is built around 3 main topics addressing many of the challenges faced by the manufacturing sectors and covering a large range of the industry of the future technologies. This roadmap is what guides our strategy for innovation at all levels of action. At the regional level, for example, so we are located in 2 regions, Auvergne-Rhône-Alpes and Nouvelle-Aquitaine. We are involved in the working groups for the smart specialization strategy, and we lead one of them related to industry of the future. At the national level, we are member of the National Alliance of the Industry of the Future, and in which we defend our position to national authority. And finally, at the European level, we are members of several European projects and networks or platforms that allow us to exchange and consolidate our links with other clusters and relevant organizations. So it was a short presentation of our structure, and the most important is now, and I will now hand the floor over to my colleague Arnaud Boquillon, who will describe to you in more detail our strategy, which is focused on integration of technologies for the manufacturing sector. Thank you, and the floor is yours, Arnaud.
Thank you, Loïc. Good morning, everyone. Yes, most of our members are involved in integration. It's important for us because we promote a systemic approach. Our integrators are sensitive to their end user needs and expectations, so they are able to qualify and understand these specifications that are expressed, for example, and focused on, for example, competitiveness, safety, profitability, or agility. And regarding these needs, they are able to benchmark the kits added value, and if these kits are so valuable or bankable, and they are sensitive to technology and at the same time to the understanding of the customer needs, they are able to propose and integrate these kits to develop optimized solution for manufacturing applications. the key point is not to use digital everywhere, but only technologies that are relevant and useful and bankable. And the issue, the stake, is to develop solutions for manufacturing applications, such as zero defect manufacturing or self-learning system, or manufacturing as a service solutions, and so on and so on. So of course, digital kits and other kits have to be developed, and Europe has to be strong on these kits, and stakeholders and players have to develop and industrialize these kits. But according to our members and our ecosystem, we mainly deal in simple competitivity with the integrative step. So the European Commission focused on the twin transition, and of course we agree green and digital transition are two inseparable challenges, but they are actually inseparable if it is done with a systemic, a holistic approach, because we can ask the question, is digital everywhere and every time a sustainable solution? For example, we know that digital kits have negative impact, and the only way to use it with a global, neutral or positive impact is to promote a global and systemic approach. We have to do life cycle analysis and environmental impact analysis, taking into account the digital impact. So it's not our own point of view, of course. For example, the National Alliance for and manufacturing and efficient factory roadmap for a few months. And we totally agree with this new way of promoting factory of the future. So, according to us, the main transition for companies is more a matter of efficiency than a matter of digital transition. Okay, it was my main message. Thank you for listening to me, and we are now ready to give the microphone to Chantal David. Thank you.
Yeah. Can we have? Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Hello. Can we have?
Hello. Yes.
To share the screen.
Okay. Yes, I'm giving you the presentation rights.
Okay.
No problem.
So, good morning, everybody.
Good morning. I am Chantal. And
I am Philippe from SCC.
So we are going to now present, and I let Philippe present our activity.
Does everybody see the screen?
Yes, we are seeing it.
Okay.
Thank you.
So thank you for attending this seminar, and thank you for Sims for the organization. I am Philippe David from SCC, and I'm currently a technical director, and Chantal is CEO from the company. So we have been given, I think, roughly 10 minutes to present our activity and to make a testimonial about simulation for industry. So we are a private company and we are operating in the range of simulation for industry since almost 30 years. And well, in few, does it work? Yes, it does. So how is our company structured? We are in a go-between academics and industrial. So the arrows here means that usually, as it's been understood, academic provide knowledge and science, and industrial make use of it. In the real life, in fact, it should have been both ways arrows, because in our environment, industrial provide requirement to the academics, which in turn send back new knowledge based on those requirements. And we are the company who convert the knowledge into scientific software to make it usable for industry. So to be practical, we have 4 types of application range dedicated to what we call primary processes in the marketing industry, meaning that these processes are widely used and spread over different type of application, as we'll see on the next slide. Currently, we are operating in the casting and solidification area. In the twin screw extrusion is a quite narrow niche market, as it can be thought, but in the real life, again, it's a general purpose processes which is applied to many different material processing. Heating and cooling is again general purpose transformation process. In general, we have 2 types of way to transform material in products. It's transferring heat, thermal energy or mechanical energy. So as far as the heating and cooling, it's thermal energy, and I will not get into the application now. And mixing extrusion, it's another type, mainly mechanical. And as a side activity, we have consulting, which have a close connection to the software, because sometimes the consulting is an outcome of a simulation, and sometimes the simulation is used for consulting. So it's again both ways. The range of products is well, to be a picture is worth 1,000 words. So a couple of figures to describe the ingot casting, heating and cooling, the twin screw and mixing extrusion, as we make use of those with the portfolio of software. The application range is widely spread around the packaging, the compounding, namely the conversion from plastic industry to make products. Pharmaceutical, they start to use continuous process. So the HMI is one new target application for the twin screw extrusion. Aeronautic, automotive, nuclear, transportation, agro-food, all those industry as manufacturing industry make use of one of those generic processes. Why simulation in the industry? In fact, it's the target is the objective is to replace trial and error method, which has been used at the early stage. Just a couple of slides to express the context. We have here from the R&D investment for major companies, and if we mention major companies, is not a mistake, because we'll see that small size and mid caps are not well involved up to now in the R&D using numerical simulation. So if you just take an example with Johnson & Johnson, which is quite popular right now, it's a very big, huge company, as you know. It's considered so far that 1/3 of the R&D investment is dedicated to the experimental, going from the concept formula to the product. The jump has to move from the lab to the pilot line to the manufacturing line. It's worth 2 billion euro. We think that 10% of those, in fact, we do not think, I mean, the source states that 10% of this is dedicated to the, okay, I need to move that one first. Okay, sorry, I have a side on the right, I didn't see my own slide. 1/10 is dedicated to the making the prototypes working properly, and it's at least the minimum types of budget which can be set by using numerical simulation. So obviously Johnson & Johnson is not a side company, but the same process applies. So at the end of the day, the simulation in industry is really a real justification based on budget. So jump further, the simulation, technically, the objective is to see, I mean, what's inside the process during the process, better than in real life. I don't know if you have a chance to get close to real industrial furnaces, and you cannot get closer than tenths of meter because of temperature. So view really means having numerical sensors to have very real insight. Based on that, the engineer can understand, control, change settings, and for optimizing the process. And at the end of the day, it's a matter of gaining times to market, budget, raw material, production equipment, investment, and so on and so on. So it's a matter of money and economics. It's really pragmatic. But as industry, the real life, as we see it as a private company close to our customers, the real life is not so beautiful. Software for industry means investment on a license. And these software editors, we know it, do not give for free licenses, and there is a good reason for that. We have to make a lot of work to make this software work properly. Such software, usually they use parallel computing facilities, and again, it's another bug of euro to make it work. And last but not least, the cultural barrier. This is why up to now in SCC, we mainly have a key account, and the name CAM, key account managers in most software companies states that they consider that they have to focus to the 10% biggest company, because this is the place where simulation is actually really intensively used. So for mid-size, mid-cap, and SME, the real life, they cannot overcome the gap of these three tags: license capex, computing resource capex, and cultural barrier, which we think in SCC is probably the worst gap to overcome. On the editor side, in fact, they work on the on-premise model. The on-premise consists in, as an editor, selling a license, a right to use a software on a permanent way with one-time fees. So we talk about tens or 100 or 1,000 euro to get in the rights of use ANSYS, Fluent, and SCC software. Probably they are less expensive. So what is the trouble for the other side of the part? One way is the industry, the other way is the editors. There is the cost of the acquisition customer. You take days, months, and years to convince, technically speaking, an industrial company to invest in simulation, and at the very end, you have the threshold of getting the budget approval. So this is a very bottleneck for a lot of companies, not only ours. The second one is we are in a worldwide organization with a network connection, internet. Obviously, everything seems very nice. But again, in the real life, reaching the customer is not that easy. An industrial, even though this is getting to the some booth, FAFUMA, K-Show, or whatever exhibitions, it's really difficult to get attention from the customer at the right time, at the time they need it. So this is another problem. And third problem is getting the support that the user requires. Getting the software working is one thing. Making the user use the software the right way, it's really painful. So at SCC, we think about this, as mentioned earlier. We're operating in this area since 30 years. We thought it was time to find something else. And we are today working and marketing a new proposal, which we call Think and Test on Cloud, and the acronym is TTOC. The idea is to provide a marketplace, meaning an open space like Amazon in another world, in a B2C environment, and we are here in B2B, a marketplace where the industry could access software on a pay-per-use approach, without investments, without commitment, and having the right software installed on the right machine with the right computing facilities. And at this time, the users could, without any refraining themselves, they don't have to convince their boss, because we are operating on an OPEX approach. I need a software for a quarter, for 6 months. I make a connection, I purchase my subscription for the time I need it, and when it's over, I don't have to take care about my computer, making the upgrade of the software, taking care about the Windows 10 required an upgrade, and such kind of. I mean, it's a day-to-day. It sounds to be low-level issues, but believe me, we see that situation on a day-by-day basis. This is real critical points, very simple things, which make life not so easy for the process engineer to use software. What is the rationale about this think and test on cloud? We are, as you can imagine, concerned by the software editor life. So on one hand, a marketplace is somebody providing a service or product, and on the other hand, somebody else is willing to buy the such services. So on the left side, we have software editor like SCC, and because it's marketplace, we expect to have a wide number of software companies. What do we do promise? The promise is to get a free acquisition channel, an extra acquisition channel, because the editor has his own distribution channel with his selling direct to the customer, having his distributor worldwide, as we do have, but we provide an extra free new acquisition channel dedicated to SME and mid-caps. So that's additional revenue, and we do simplify the access to the customer. So this is, from one hand, very important point. We have identified also the technology transfer companies, which are the sometimes, most of the time, kind of spin-offs from academics, and they want to valorize the assets. They have sometimes they have piece of software, they have model, but they are not organized to act as an industrialization company or software company. So simply, they can manage the intellectual properties. They have quite big numbers of lawyers. They know how to make royalties negotiation and such kind of things, but it's not easy for them to make the knowledge from the academic down to the market. The other way, on the right side, we have the target segments in terms of marketing. There are SMEs and mid-caps. Those companies today, to our knowledge and experience, most of these companies hardly make use of simulation. So this is, to be pragmatic, a very good segments for getting new business activity, and to help those companies to internalize this solution, because at the end of the day, they know it's important. I mean, it's not because it's small company, they are aware, there are a lot of communication, they go to the exhibition, they really know that those solutions will be very nice. But as I mentioned earlier, there is the problem of investment justification. I think that Chantal could say this as well as me. We face situation really very often when the company says, yeah, I like your software, I know it's efficient, I'd like to use it, but if I use it twice a year, I cannot afford to pay for on-premise to buy a permanent license. So they really ask and expect an alternative, and we think that this kind of on-cloud proposal, adjusting both software and hardware, is a very good. We think it's very good, a very good trend to take. Last one. Do not forgetting the key account that this is today as SCC, a regular editor, our main customer, because key accounts are the one who have invested for some several years already. They also need cloud proposal, because obviously they are internal solution, but more and more they tend to externalize their resources, hardware and software. And also they want to jump to the having those resources on a project basis. So it's no more interesting for them for financial issues and ratios. They do not want anymore to maintain all the computing internal available. So it's a matter of cost control. So this is based on our experience from several years with close contact with companies worldwide. We have customers in 17 countries, and we know that even with different culture concerns, roughly, this is, from our understanding, a good overview about the behavior of these companies, and mainly the SME and mid-caps. So I think it's we are expect to be on time. So thanks for your attention, and bye-bye. We remain connected, obviously.
Merci beaucoup to both of you. Okay, thank you. Congratulations for the presentation and the work that you are doing. Now it's time to hear the attendants. Who wants to ask, comment, suggest on this topic? If not, I can speak. I can speak for hours on this. Okay, so no problem at all. Okay, I think that one of the big, I totally agree with the approach to facilitate the access to the technology through the cloud. Cloud has this virtue, okay, this capacity. But I think that one of the big problems for the SME are also related to the standardization of the procedures of analytics of the data, the change of data, and so on. Have you worked both from the pole de competitivité or from your company on this topic? You know,
data is the most critical part, and generally is well understood, and companies are not willing to share this issue. We cannot overcome this. I mean, if you consider software without any relevant data, you are in the scheme of garbage in, garbage out. So there is some alternatives to get a qualitative answer, even though the input data is not that relevant. But in general, it's a prerequisite, and this is something which has been to handle internally from the company. Because again, if you ask a company to share their characterization data, should we talk about compounding or from what any kind of processes, they consider at the right with the right thinking, this is a very sensitive, and they are not willing to share. So I think it's a software company. To overcome this, we say the software is something else than the data. And even though for general purpose information, let's say rheology or mechanical properties, a product or material provider provide some general purpose database, but to get very high-end information, very precise, it has to be addressed from the company.
no comments.
Can I make a question to like? It was very interesting, like the concept that you presented about integrated companies and this integrated vision on the ecosystem of the manufacturing. How do you see the concept of open innovation between these integrated companies? Do you think it's possible for these companies to try to have different ways of interacting, experience, and sharing ideas between them? Thank you.
I'm not sure to have understood if we are the one to answer this question, or is what dedicated to us?
It could be also to the pole de competitivité. Sorry. So
yes, it's what I guess. Since nobody was answering,
feel free to answer also from Themes, Loic, Arnaud.
I'm not sure to well understood the question. I understood. Can we share experience among our members, and can we copy and paste experience from a technology to another? Is it the question, or?
Yes. It's about this. Yes, that's right.
Okay. So of course it depends on use cases and client expectation, but the methodology is quite always the same. That's why I promoted the systemic and global approach. Once the expectations are well understood, and once the integrator knows the added value of the kits, he is able to propose an added value integrated solution for the specific application. For example, so SCC is a good example of this methodology. The kits that they use are cloud computing, virtual commissioning, simulation, and so on. But once they integrated all these kits, they are able to propose software as a service and computing solution to their client for them to improve processes, tools, and global efficiency of the plant or the processes. And that's exactly the same if we look to other integrative technologies such as robotic, transitic, and so on. Yesterday we had a meeting devoted to lifters, for manufacturing application, and the kits we had a look to was vision, robotic, control command, human interface, and so on. But the solution that the manufacturers are waiting for are only efficient lifting and bankable lifting. So I think the methodology is always the same. Just use the relevant kits to satisfy the need. It's basic, but it works.
Thank you, Rick. Any more comments, questions? I will return to the standardization proposal, okay? In my experience, okay, one of the problems with the cost of projects are precisely that everything is different in every machine, okay, and in every project, and so you need to. Sorry, I'm going to put in muted some microphones. Sorry, if you are not using them, please mute your microphone, Julia. Loic, sorry, because there is some noise at the background. Okay, so you need to it would be good to try to standardize the exchange of data on the industrial environments in order to really be able to combine data from different sources, but also to take advantage of the previous experience in other projects and apply it to new ones, especially between companies. So this is related to open innovation, okay? When you, or the idea behind the, this free software, okay? The open source software, okay? So if we are able to standardize the tools that our SMEs use for the application of the data science on their environments, that will make it far more cheap, but not cheap, because it's not a question of lower the price of the market. The question is to make it more affordable for our SMEs. Okay, so the ecosystems providing data service should grow and must grow. Okay, but must grow by volume. How to do that? That's the question. And what role can clusters play on it? Okay, coordinating for sure activities, promoting activities, but also helping in this process of lowering the access and the level to this kind of technologies. I think that is key. And if we are not working on that, China and USA will work on this for sure. I'm totally sure of that. Okay. Why? Because Microsoft, Amazon, Google are working on it. Okay, just as they were working on the standardization for the home appliance. Okay, so this is for me key. Cloud is key because it allows the access to advanced technologies in a very fewer or lower price, but also standardization of the processes and the data. And I understand the message that the companies doesn't want to share data. We are not speaking about publishing data. We are speaking about structuring data in a common way that allows us to implement the same algorithms, the same solutions, or not the same, but near the same, okay, to different environments. This is what they are doing from the cloud providers, okay? The cloud providers, as many of them, give you possible APIs to use just with some standard interfaces, and they tell you, if you give me a text, I am available to analyze the text, and you just need to give them the text. Okay, so why not to work on this from the cluster community? This is my question for you. Loic, what do you think? No answers?
Maybe the question is more easy to answer for Philip. I don't know, but
Well, I thought the question was rooted to the task from the Clusters Alliance. Again, you know, as private companies, we are pragmatic, and I think that the strategy and the trends and the tool and facilitating the access is interesting. But at the end of the day, what is the cost of something and what is the value of something? And it's true for an injector, it's true and it's true for virtual and virtual investment, such kind with human resources using simulation software. They are intellectually, I mean, we are intellectually convinced that this is a way to go. There is no midterm alternative. Company is still using the old-fashioned to manufacture and set up new product or materials. Know that they have to take this way, but still they have to have test cases to see the value of what is provided, and the learning curve, the time it takes between the day you get in the past day when you bought something, you were buying the software, you were getting by post a CD-ROM, and you would put the CD-ROM in the machine, and it's not Excel and Microsoft software. If you buy those software, after 10 minutes you can working and get a return on investment. You can send a mail, you can write a paper, you can use it. A simulation software require a level of investments, cultural, in terms of human resources, and sometimes it's a matter of months. So some company, the smallest one, have a hard time to envisage this situation. Say, I put that amount of money, I tell to a couple of guys to work on this, and I will have a return in that level in terms of months. So this is something difficult to overcome from what we see on the day-by-day basis.
Yeah, I was not speaking only about simulation. You know, the topic of today is more general, as far as I understand. It's about digitalization and the manufacturing sector. Okay, that's the title of the session.
I can only I can only talk about what we know regularly.
For
So
sure.
that's just
For
a
sure.
testimonial.
For sure. Okay, but if we speak about simulation, it could be applied also. For sure, you need to invest human resources on it. Okay, but you need a basis of technology, and probably you could automatize some of the processes if the machine manufacturers, for example, agreed on some kind of standards in the data. I don't know. Probably you are connecting with the machines and you are retrieving data from them, and you know that probably most of the time you need to recreate the processes for loading the data and creating the simulation. Okay. And perhaps, I don't know, perhaps you could benefit from a standardization of on the definition of the digital twins. I don't know. Okay, I'm sure, in fact, of that. Okay, the point is to provide, to take some steps to increase the number of your clients in a way that you could increase your business, but at the same time, lowering the investment needed to implement this kind of technologies. That is my proposal, my personal proposal. Okay, for sure, you need people, and you need and talent is part of the key point on this. So we need to create excellent data scientists, and we need to spread the knowledge of this kind of technologies through the manufacturing companies, are not only the manufacturing ones, also the service one. Okay. But the problem is that there are still very, very few people ready for that.
Maybe I can share experience. Most of our integrators are SMEs, and there is an effect that I call SME speak to SMEs. I mean, it's more easy for traditional manufacturer SMEs to trust another SME that explain and take time to explain how data or robotic or cloud computing can help daily its issues than to trust a big company. You know, I think there is an effect for digitalization and for innovation once an innovative SME speaks to a traditional SME. It's more easy than if it is a big techno provider that try to convince a manufacturer SMEs. It's an effect that we can observe and we can check quite every time, that the match is done if SMEs, tech SMEs or integrator SMEs work and propose solution to another SMEs. It's more easy than if it is a big company that try to convince and to sell solutions to traditional SMEs. And it's important in our pole de compétitivité to match the stakeholder, the relevant stakeholders, taking into account their size. There is a better trust between two SMEs. And by the way, most of our integrators are agile and innovative, and so they are small companies.
I totally agree. That's a key point. And we have in our cluster idea, we have had projects on this field for years. Okay, and I could share, for example, one example about drives. We were developing for some big company a project to analyze the drives, for example, for lifters, okay? The devices that control the engines, and analyzing the drive, you could, for example, for sure improve the efficiency of the process, but also you could avoid failures in the drives with the time, okay? And the point was that all the drives installed or near all of them installed in the factories were ready for delivering that data. They didn't need any special software. You just need to take the data and analyze it. And how to organize that project in SME was very complex. But joining them, it was quite easy, and with a very quick returns of investment, sometimes of weeks. This is our experience, okay? So if you are able to facilitate the entry of the SMEs to that kind of projects, I'm sure that and also to demonstrate the value of the project, I'm sure that the spirit of this kind of technologies will be far more easy and far quicker. And that's the role that I think that we could play. But in order to do that, we also need to explain to our cluster colleagues about this kind of process, okay? And perhaps we need to organize something even more practical, more clear, and in the way on how could we really cross-link companies on this kind of projects. Okay. Hi, Marek. I see that you have a comment in the chat. Welcome.
Yeah, well, comment and question. Thank you very much. Using the opportunity, we have really the IT specialist here in the field. You see, there was in our expert group recommendations, which is for policy makers dealing with cluster policy and cluster managers, that to increase the capacity of clusters in advanced business services to have this possibility of promoting the integration of physical and digital systems. I wonder, first of all, do you belong to digital innovation hubs? The first question would be, I'm just curious. The second one is, in your presentation, you mentioned that one of the bottlenecks you have is to really know what the companies exactly, what kind of solutions at the moment of production process they really need, so that you have them online, let's say online information, how you can help them. I wonder to what extent clusters can be the network that actually this is happening. So if you have a cluster, you have like 120 members, and actually all this can be so well integrated online that this network exchange of information, that you can provide advanced software or hardware services in ICT field are happening in an ongoing way. I mean, you can have the commitment from all SMEs and businesses in the and research organizations in the cluster to do so. I wonder to what extent this is feasible, and if you ever had the chance to live it through. Thank you.
Welcome, Loic. A question for you or Arnaud.
I can answer to
precise the question. Have you ever had the network of independent companies, but still can be in cluster, can be in another, that you integrate the software solutions and you actually bring them in different production processes or in different supply chains? I mean, in the same supply chain, but in different stages of supply chain, even better. Have you ever had this kind of group of clients network?
Yes, there is several networks and work group at the national level or at the regional level. For example, in our own region Auvergne-Rhône-Alpes, we are close to 12 or 13 pôles de compétitivité. So some of them are really focused on raw materials, others are focused on biotech, another one is focused on digital technologies, and we are focused on manufacturing. And of course, we try to match and to cross from, for example, digital to manufacturing. So we speak together, but our point of view is quite different. It's understandable, and it's clear that for digital pôle de compétitivité, the goal is to develop kits and to develop business within digital key players. According to us, we are not dealing with digital tech, deep tech development, but how can they be useful and valuable for manufacturing applications? Of course, we work together. But to answer to your question, did we apply for digital innovation hubs? Yes, the answer is yes. We applied, but we were not successful because our regional council didn't support our initiative. They prefer to have a digital innovation hub focused on deep tech development. And that's a pity for us, because we are sure and we are convinced that our proposal focused on green manufacturing was a good way to work for our companies. But anyway, the important point, the most relevant, is that there is no one-way solution. I mean, we have to work both on deep tech development and on their integration through manufacturing solution. We have to work on both scenarios, not only one.
Thank you, Loic. From our side, from South America, go on.
Okay, thank you. So you were not in the innovation hub; it didn't work. But the question was as well to the consultant. As a consultant, have you ever, in your business model, do you have this kind of building your services, advanced business services in software and ICT hardware and software, integrating networks of independent companies which create either supply chain or they integrating in the all production manufacturing processes of small of small enterprise. My point is, you have scattered players, and then thanks to the fact that you are integrating in them through software and physical and software solutions which are coming, you create the digital network, actually, which is not formal, but still making things happen in reality. I hope I was precise as much as I could. So as a consultant, did you have such projects?
Not really. I mean, it's very seldom to get outside what we have in France, like the ANR initiatives, where customers want to mutualize their investments and make sure it can be spread over a company, like the share ANR in French. We do not deal with widely on such kind of approach. It's mainly business to business, and
even worse, it's usually associated with strong NDA.
Yeah.
So
we most of the time we are associated with our customers and not with our colleague.
Okay, thank you. Something to reconsider and reflect, Antonio, no? For
Yeah,
clusters.
I was thinking so. Yeah, very good point, Marek. Thank you very much. So it's time to close, okay? But before, sorry, because we wanted to give the word to Maria Jose Fondac from the ECCP. Maria Jose, you have your minutes to share with us about the platform. Sorry for the delay.
Yes, good morning, everyone, and thank you for this very interesting presentations. I just wanted to update you on the European Cluster Collaboration Platform. If you can go to the next slide. Because the Cluster Collaboration Platform, thanks to the European Commission, is fostering cooperation among clusters since 2015. And there have been, meanwhile, many clusters registered. However, there has been a big update of the website in which we have also added new profiles. For example, training providers, and also the public and policy institutions, etc. So if you go to the next slide, I will go through it a bit quickly since we are a bit over time. I think what is very interesting for you is first of all that you can search much better for other partners, and also you can directly contact actually other clusters or other organizations through the website. You can upload your own events and also look for calls. I looked quickly, and for example, for the 5th of May, there is a call for Mind the Gap, which is related to manufacturing and advanced manufacturing. On 20th of April, Galactica is organizing a webinar on advanced manufacturing, and there are also all kind of partner requests. The thing is that to make this website really well functional, I think it is good to first of all register, but also in case you are already registered, because I saw, for example, that Siemens is registered and updated their profiles, but many did not yet update their profiles. And that means that, for example, whereas there 121 cluster organizations dealing with included in the website, they cannot be found unless you have updated your profiles. So it's a strong request to you to update your profile, because that will enable you to actually participate in webinars, to see webinars, and to be found. So if you go to the next slide. So really, this is just the 4 steps. So you can then, once you have updated your profile, you can upload articles, and it also really helps to use the tag ECCP, since then people will easier find you. Galactica showed recently how they had an increase in visibility of their own events by putting the hashtag ECCP. So it really helps to promote yourself and to be found. Next slide. Yeah, I think this can be skipped since we are a bit late. So it's very easy to register, and all the clusters will be validated. So the cluster organizations that have registered will first be validated before they are, so to say, accepted on the ECCP, to make sure that it is really a reliable site. And yeah, I wish you all luck, and we are there for you to help. So if there is anything, if you can go to the next slide, just or the end, we will be happy to help you. You can find more information on the website clustercollaboration.eu, and happy to help.
Thank you very much, Maria Jose. Thank you. And it's time to close. Thank you to everybody, and hope to see you very soon. Bye. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.